Yes. I call this meeting, the Joint Planning and Variance Commission meeting, Commission of the Town of Kiowa to order at 6 p.m. And can you do the roll call for us?
Mm-hmm. All right, Wendy Frenzel
Here.
and Sandy Kalich.
Yes.
Rick Cole,
Yep.
Andrew Lowry,
Here.
Trevor Smith,
Absent.
absent. Me? Yep. Ruth Warren, she's here, present. Julie? Nope.
Yeah.
Todd Lane,
Present.
Shannon Lane, present. Rebecca Hawkins? Nope. And Cindy? What's here on?
I told her to turn her camera on so I could wait.
Hi, Cindy Tapp. We love you.
We love you, come home.
There, she's here. Okay. So, there you go.
Okay, let's move. So we've got a lot to cover.
All right. What is, let's see. Oh, okay, I see the amendment. Is that approval of the agenda? With the amendment, is the amendment adding Rebecca?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
yes, the amendment is just adding Rebecca because she's applying to join. And so if is all good, which I assume it will be, then she'll have to take her oath of office on October 10th at the regular town meeting.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Rebecca Hawkins applying to join the Planning and Variance Committee?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, let's go ahead, look at the minutes for September 6th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the September 6th, 2023 meeting?
I make a motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Say nay. All right, we have an approval of the minutes.
That pencil again.
And
Okay, I'm gonna give my copy up.
I'll take your copy. The second I gotta sign. Yeah, all right. So new business. Choosing a co-chairman of the Joint Planning Commission and Variance Committee. Currently, I am, I guess, chairperson. So we're looking either for a vice chair or co-chair. So for those times that I might not be here, somebody else can run with it. Anybody interested?
I pick one of those two.
Or do we want to wait until Rebecca joins us next week?
Maybe Rebecca and Julie both.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and we'll table that till the next meeting, please. Is that good with everybody?
Yep.
All right. And then anybody see any concerns with Rebecca joining us?
No.
Okay, so let's go ahead and have Rebecca sworn in.
Okay.
At the next meeting, so then she can join us. Okay. Let's go ahead, move into the old business of the code amendments. All right, what fun do you have for us, Miss Ruth?
I do have a lot of fun this evening, and also I just want to thank you guys because I know how brutal it is for me drafting it, so I know it's maybe even more painful going through this. And so I appreciate everybody showing up and participating to get this done. And we do have a lot of information to go through tonight, but first I wanted to go through the changes that I made in response to your comments at our last meeting, and I will try to expedite that. But so that begins with our definitions. And let me pull it. I'm going to use two screens. So we added Under animal, we had a lot of discussion about that. We didn't change it here. We just kept it as mammal and animal breeding. And then we added assisted living residents. You may want to take a look at that. This is actually the definition that is provided for by the state and their regulations. That's a big addition.
And if this is the definition used by the state, then it's probably a good definition to have.
Well, yeah, I think it needs
Yes.
to be in.
Yeah, so I took a lot of the new definitions that are in our code from either the state law or state websites. So we'll go through those, but so we deleted boarding and rooming house. We added condominium or condominium unit. We defined contractor. And lastly, on that page anyway, we deleted dog breeder and made it animal breeder. That was in the first page. If you go to the next page, the change we made was with respect to domesticated animals and inserting pot-bellied pigs as a permitted use and deleting the pigs.
Okay.
We added a definition for exotic animals, which was actually really hard to get my arms around, but I ended up using our state law. I hope that works with you guys. It has
Yeah.
exotic pigs in that. I don't really know what that is. And
Well,
then-
most people wouldn't have them if they're because. I mean, you can't even bring them into the state, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, that's really the way. If you have them, you're in big trouble. And on the next page, we have horse. So what was interesting is that when you use the definition of equine, it actually is more broad than a horse definition. So I revised it, as you see, as horse and or equine, because the definition became so broad if it was that. So I hope this works for everyone.
Mhm.
We deleted kennel. Under livestock, we clarified swine and excluded pot-bellied pigs as they're now clearly permitted in the town.
Miss Ruth, real quick, under kennel, I do see kennel commercial and kennel private. So when you say we deleted it, what was it that was deleted?
It's just the definition, like, she just said kennel and then it's two also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just
we
the
took
single
out the
definition.
single definition. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Let's see, lot, maintenance was a big one. This one was actually, took me some time. This is a hard definition to get my arms around that I thought worked for us. So you may want to review that if you just take a second for me. That was, because our old code simply was limited to signs and that didn't make any sense for us.
I'm not sure what she was talking about. I missed it. I don't know.
Oh, maintenance, right? here.
Maintenance.
Oh, back to
Oh,
maintenance.
under maintenance.
I was reading everything else above it, going, what is she talking about?
Okay. I like it.
It sounds fun.
Does anybody have any concerns with maintenance?
No, that's what it is.
All right,
No.
so let's go ahead and we can keep moving on then, Miss Ruth.
So the next item was manufactured homes and clarifying manufactured homes and mobile homes. And what I did is I, again, took the state definition and clarified it. In 4 subsections that are set forth in our state law. I think it really helps as we move forward, or some of these old mobile homes age out, and clarify how title has to be achieved. And we're now in compliance with state law with regards to those. As I know we have a lot of aging mobile homes that are non-conforming uses now, but you know, we can't do anything about them yet. And then next, we added a definition for motel. The next tough one was occupied. It sounds silly, but it really. I added. Oh, I clarified parking space because it wasn't on there. We added a definition for park. We deleted professional breeder. Sorry. My mouse, come on. Retail business. Shops or activities. I revised. You asked me to update that. On the last sentence of service animal, I deleted horse and added equine. Under sexual oriented businesses, I created a broader definition and deleted some of these more specific definitions. I added a setback definition. You might want to look at that. So the most notable thing that we have in the code is update to the state law on short-term rentals. As we know, this is a big issue for the town, and now the state. And I just want everybody to see this, that if you rent for 29 days, you're required to get a permit. We right now don't have a permit or licensing requirement. We probably need to adopt one if we're going to start permitting short-term rentals, because the state law changed, affected April 1st, 2023. And this is the new definition. So it's pretty oppressive, you guys. I mean, what it does is says, if you're going to be renting, you can own a bunch of homes in town under the same name and be doing short-term rentals.
Airbnb, basically.
Yeah, right, that's Airbnb,
Yeah, essentially, yes.
okay. I think that's good, I mean, we don't want 10, do we?
No.
I mean, you know, someone could own 5 or 6 homes and.
I don't want a bunch of people coming in and going out, coming
I'm
in and
with
going
you.
out. I
I'm
just,
Totally with you.
I've seen too much traffic in this town already, and that's not something
I
I wanna
agree, I
see.
like that.
In residential areas.
Yes, like R1 and R2.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
they live outside of R1 and R2s and they're a mile out of town, I don't care.
That's not our problem, a mile out of town.
Right, and that's what I'm just saying, I don't want them like right here in R1 and R2.
Well, I think the state legislature is taking care of that for us, because we have to now be in compliance. And we may have different points of view on that, but what I added in here is what the state is now requiring, so I just wanted to let everyone know, and that's a good thing we're updating it, because we would have to do it anyway.
Perfect.
Let's see. Site plan. I updated. Subdivision improvements agreement, we just deleted the last two words and I added the town. And under therapy animal, I deleted horse and added equine. Under width of lot, I tried to make that definition easier for people to understand. So that if a lot happens to be 48.5 feet wide, it still is permitted to have a residence on it, which, you know, we all know that under the law, if you have a lot, you're allowed to, and it's in a appropriate zone district, you can't preclude someone from having a single family house. So I tried to clean that up. Let's see. And I think that's the biggest ones, unless somebody has any comments or concerns, questions.
I do too, everything sounds good.
Yep. It's a good step through.
So hopefully you guys, I went back and forth on this all the past couple days, and I have come up with some hopefully clarifying zone districts, and you can see them as we go through them. I'll talk more specifically, and the good news is now we have GIS with Elbert County that can update our zoning map to match this. This is fluid. I can change it. I can do whatever you guys want. I just tried to get us a more succinct definition with permitted uses, as you'll see as we go along, to make it easier for anybody coming to try to do business or build homes in Kiowa. So, so town center, which is really downtown. I don't know how you all feel about that. We've talked about that briefly, I believe, with the Board of Trustees, but you can't have residential uses still.
So if somebody has in the town center is renting something, it has to be, it cannot be less than 250 square feet. I like that.
But there's a lot of just another thing I came across is that a lot of communities in Colorado are trying to make sure that when we provide or anyone provides a living area or rented or somebody's living in it, that it's in fact habitable. It's a really big issue where we live up here in the mountains where housing is a premium, to ensure that people are protected and in a safe environment. There are really oppressive regulations placed on a town and a community. To even be more specific, I thought that was a little overreaching for our small town, but to begin to start ensuring that, you know, where people are living, it's habitable, I think is important. So I didn't get too carried away with that, but you know, you do see that a little bit in here. And then the same in the commercial professional district. And you all probably know better than I, you know, where that overlap is. Um. Town center, we've never really identified up till now versus commercial professional district. So you all may have strong feelings about that.
Basically, that would be like the bar since it's commercial and dwelling. Is that similar to what this is saying?
Sandy's question said that that would include places like the bar where you have a business downstairs and you have a Airbnb upstairs and then a rental upstairs.
Yeah, so what I struggled with was that definition and the mixed use definition. So either one of those could apply.
Okay,
This is
because I'm thinking about our map and our town plat and where that commercial professional district could be and where that mixed use could be.
and maybe it's combined. I think you guys are much more familiar with what we may or may not. It may be too much, adding too many districts, and we just need to make it simpler.
Well, if we did make it simpler, I would combine the commercial professional district with mixed use.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, those two.
And
Okay.
going
So
down,
that's so funny, because the mixed use, I just added it in there, and it's
Uh-huh.
easy for me to take it out. So
okay,
I think the commercial professional district, unless you guys feel otherwise, is more in line with how the town would want to operate and what existing uses you really have.
I would agree.
Okay, so we're just gonna, everything to do with that, I'll delete. And the next definition is light industrial. You can have apartments too.
Where would we have, think about town and where we'd have light industrial.
In the town?
Yeah, think of the town boundary and where we could have. Now, down here at that little garage by
Yeah.
whatever,
It is.
so we'd have to. That's what we need to think about when we do this.
Right, because,
Where in this community could light industrial be? And so it'd be that garage behind the county building, and we may have some up later by the water tower.
Yeah.
Or that could be, correct me if I'm wrong, that could be town center,
the old county built.
the old county shop down there, yeah. Cause I don't know what they're gonna do with that when they move here. But that's what you need to think about when we talk about these different zones. Is where could that industry be? And the county building would be good, maybe Eamon's Quonset hut down there that needs to be tore down, you know what I mean? So I don't know if we want light industrial right in town, right there on Main Street.
Yeah, 'cause that's gonna
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather see that a Family Dollar or something, but there's no
Yeah.
parking,
Right,
so.
but I don't.
But I
wanna
would
see an
leave
apartment
light
building
industrial
because
in
there's
there.
Still no parking.
Yeah, so just so I'm clear, you can have a zone district that doesn't have anything in it.
Sure, we could, yeah,
So
and that would help with, like, the hay business up on the hill here,
Mhm.
you know? Do light industrial, I wouldn't call it agriculture, but make sure that we can label it so that they can do their business out of that, however many acres are up there,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Right,
So apartments would be considered light industrial?
No,
No.
apartments,
have-
But you can have apartments within a light
Yeah,
industrial
okay,
with
That's what we-
special arrangements.
okay,
special use permits.
Mhm.
okay.
which is good to have. I mean, it encourages people with small businesses to have a, residential unit where they can work and live.
Well, what we do is, what we call that in town, like for the car wash, the guy living upstairs above the car wash is a caretaker. The lady downtown here that's supposed to be having a business is the caretaker, supposedly. So that would be included somewhat in that definition. So,
The next one is mobile home park district. We need to have that because we have them.
yes, we do.
Heavy industrial. Again, I'm not sure where,
What heavy would be? County building now. Big,
Yeah, I don't know where that heavy industry would come in unless somebody moved in up by the water tower later on.
yeah.
So, cause that's all town property. So we'll leave it on there and we'll utilize it how we see fit.
the next is parks and recreation.
That's an easy one.
Then we go to multifamily, which is a big issue when we were looking at the Kiowa Creek Meadows Development Plan. All of these became issues for us. Single family high density, single family medium density, single family low density, rural residential. So, oh, look at that, Eagle County's on there.
Okay, so I like the single family 6,500 square foot lots.
Yep,
And so a single family medium density district is intended to provide moderate density, single family residential development within a town on individual lots of not less than 10,001 square feet. That'd be a
Yep.
pretty good lot. But it might behoove us to leave that in there. And single family low density, now we're talking like an apartment
This is the lot size.
No, it's like ranch.
or just a single, a
like
what?
ranches, yeah.
It's like ranch.
So like, for example, this is probably a good example to use. And thankfully, we didn't get stuck with this, but let's say a large development came in and they were trying to cram,
And nothing less than.
you
4
know,
units.
400 units
Okay, you're right.
and had lots that were less than 5,000 square feet. We could say you as the planning committee can make a recommendation that you want a mix of residential densities, and you would have a code that supports that. And
Need a code to support it, because
you could say, oh, I want a mix of uses, and we want some large lots and some small lots, and people are willing to pay for that and have more open space available to them. So that's kind of my thinking. But we can change it. I think.
Well,
we
I'm just thinking about what we have available. And I don't know how many acres are between County Road 134 and the water tower. But all we have behind me is 116 acres, give or take. And there's 40 acres north of the trailer park that could possibly someday be annexed.
Yep.
But other than that, we're pretty much landlocked. So I don't know, and that this is just my opinion. My opinion in 6 cents won't get you a cup of coffee, but I don't know if we have the space in town to do single family, low density and.
That's only half an acre.
yeah, that's only a half an acre.
I mean, okay,
Which one,
My lot is an acre.
your lot's an acre,
Mhm.
okay,
Which
leave them
one?
in there then.
So
which one's half
The
acre?
We'd have to
2,000
the
be,
single family low density is 0.459. Single family medium density is 0.229. Single family high density is 0.149. Most of Fawn Valley is single family medium density.
And how much was that one?
This Fun Valley.
Most of us are single
point-
family and medium density,
How much is that? 2 point.
0.229.
And I like that as far as lot size.
Yes.
I mean, I hate
Yeah.
my mowing grass, but it's still,
I don't want houses over top of each other houses. I don't like them when they're this far.
Okay, we'll leave
I
those
don't
in
wanna
there
reach
then.
out and touch my neighbor. I
But
mean,
then,
I'm-
Then the next definition of rural residential may not make sense because those are 2-acre lots. We have a lot of that here in the county down valley. But
Yeah, I
we can come back to this. It's easy for me to fix this. It was more important for me to get it all out there and you guys to come back and say, this may or may not work for the town.
Yeah,
And then I added an ag definition that allows for secondary units. And then the last one is developing resource district, which is really addressing properties that potentially could be annexed in the town. And I understand how limited the town is, but you'd be surprised how flagpole annexations happen, or you never know.
yeah.
Mostly because
Yeah.
they're gonna want the water and sewer.
We don't have an ag designation on our plat. And I
Yep.
don't, we may have one day rural, 2-acre lots on rural residential. But, so maybe that would be a good one to leave in there because
Yeah,
we could, except it's not in Eagle County, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Now, does rural and agricultural, don't those kind of go with each other? I mean, isn't that kind of the same thing, or are they two different zones? Cause I've always been,
Sorry.
I've always thought that rural and agricultural is kind of the same thing. Am I thinking that wrong, or?
Well, the way this is defined as rural residential is, 2-acre single-family houses with an accessory dwelling unit. And ag is really ag land where you're raising animals and grazing.
It's gonna be on the
Okay,
edge of-
but on ag
It could be-
land, you could
Yeah.
put like a single family
There's
home.
nowhere in town that we have that we could do that.
Currently, but that's why she's saying leave it for the future growth, because if we do some flagpoles, there are areas that could fall into place, and it's a 5-acre. Basically, ag would be
Do we
farming.
have anybody with
Ranching.
5 acres in town?
and you can't put a single
You're
family.
not gonna
You
put
can't.
agriculture in
You
there.
can't.
Where the
Correct.
rural
It's gonna-
residential,
That's
you
why
wouldn't have like
it
farm.
says on here. on
The ag is
edges.
not a part of that.
Right, you'd have a larger lot.
All right.
You might have a big shop on.
So it's, I don't know what it's doing for me. I have
can't-
horses, I'm gonna keep them, and I'm on an acre.
Yeah, but that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
Okay,
This
I
is for
like those
future.
in. She beat me up.
Right. So next is our development standards. And this is where you see actually how these zone districts begin to work. So town center, what's your minimum lot, what's your lot coverage, what's your height, what's your setbacks. You may have a different opinion about setbacks here where the zeros are. And also, we've added fences, which become a big issue for some communities. And then, no fences can exceed 8 feet. I mean, some communities, they all want to have fences. Other communities are completely adverse to them, so.
They didn't, they said.
My neighbor down.
It didn't drive me crazy.
And then next is the residential development standards. We have the minimum lot sizes, same lot width, frontage, depth, and setbacks. And this was I thought it was very confusing or not enough information in our existing code that this tries to make it more specific, especially for developers or anyone trying to do something. And then, we had this issue again with Kiowa Creek Meadows, like how big can a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex be? We didn't have anything to define that.
No, we didn't.
And that really was another issue that could have been painful for us.
I like the charts.
Yeah.
And then, here's some clarification on setbacks because they are always causing problems for people. There's development standards for a new mobile home park, if it does in fact happen. And then we have our uses. So this is where I really am gonna ask you guys for some real, I guess, focus. So adult entertainment, these are where, so if it has a star or an asterisk, that means it's not allowed in that zone district. And then the S is a special review use. And the P means permitted uses. So we could go through it vertically or horizontally, whatever you guys are comfortable with, but
Let's go across that release. So, go across all, like adult entertainment, cover each of those ambulance services. That way it just makes it a little bit
Yeah, we can
easier.
follow it
Because
easier.
otherwise.
okay. I'm gonna get to my other sheet if you guys can just bear with me for a sec. Just so it's easier there for me to make changes.
Okay, so
Okay. So adult entertainment, you can't have it in town center, you can't have it in commercial. You can have it in light industrial as a special review use, and it's precluded in high industrial or parks and recreation. And that all makes sense, right? For
Yeah.
everybody?
Yes.
Ambulance is permitted in commercial business area and light industrial and parks and rec. Amphitheaters, this, commercial, light industrial, parks and rec. Automobile sales and repair. You all might have strong feelings about this one. It's a special review use in commercial area. How do you guys feel about that?
And this is major repair versus minor repair.
I don't
So-
even, I mean, is that,
the difference.
maybe we just need one, I don't know, but that's.
Well, think of where Who Motors is.
Yeah.
It's in what I would call the town center.
Center, yeah.
And I would say he's grandfathered in.
Yes.
But he uses that little garage back behind Hedda. Back behind Rick Pettit's
Mhm.
abstract office to do some repairs. And cleaning cars and
So
stuff,
that'd be minor.
yeah.
That's what I
And
consider.
Dustin would be major up on 45.
That's,
Okay,
Yeah,
understand. Perfect.
Okay, so on the major versus minor. Coming from the automotive world, I'll tell you right now that someone's gonna apply for a minor.
And do the major.
They're gonna be doing major, yeah. They will apply for minor to be, oh, I'm gonna do tune-ups and everything, and next thing you know, they're replacing engines, transmissions. Painting their cars inside the garage when no one's watching, that
Good
kind of
point.
stuff. So, been there, done it, well, I haven't done it. But I've been there.
You
Okay?
just gave yourself. up.
I've been there, I've seen it
Yeah,
happen,
you gave
so.
yourself up.
I mean, I think to protect the town, I think. We ought to be very cautious about that. I agree with you on Who, yeah, they're grandfathered in, they've been here forever. But I think we ought to really be
So-
cautious about that and really define it.
So how about here's the question then. Do we just take out the words major and minor, just have automotive sales and repair and have them all, that line of as major for everybody, for automotive sales and repair?
Yes.
I
That's,
think that works better, and I think we need to add that in the definition section, so I'm writing myself a note right now, so.
You know,
So we're nixing the minor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they'll all be special review uses, correct?
just for commercial, we can leave it under permitted for light, heavy and parks
Okay,
as it currently is listed.
bars are permitted in town center, business, and light industrial.
Yeah.
Bed and breakfast, town center, commercial business area. Storage of dangerous materials, light industrial. I'm not sure about Parks and Rec.
No.
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 Yeah, no, yeah.
sometimes on a commercial. But what's in the,
That
MD
was
is,
mixed, but mixed is going away.
we're taking that out, so we're not gonna have any of that mixed development right here.
Okay.
That column will go away.
Oh, that helps.
That's actually easy to fix, for me anyway. So, and I'm gonna combine dangerous materials and petroleum gas, don't you think?
Yes,
Make it
please.
Yes.
simple.
And take it out of park, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
under both columns. Childcare centers are permitted, town center, medical business, and light industrial as a special review use. I mean, I think that kind of makes sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
but
Wait, wait,
shouldn't they be all special permit instead of just a permit?
They have to go through the state in order to be a childcare license.
Mhm.
Center.
Then how do we get our permit to give to them?
Well, these are permitted uses, means they can be in the town center and for a childcare center.
So I can open if I lived on Main Street, I could open my house up to a childcare center without having to come to.
But you could
Oh, you
probably,
you'd still have to come in for approval.
business.
You just don't have to get a special review use permit and go through the publication and
Just have to
have a
approve it.
clearing process. So it would, what it would do is put the town in a position wherein they can't say no.
Okay, so now,
Let me caution you about that. Just 1 second, I'm sorry. Let me be really clear. If it's got a P, it's really hard for the town to ever say no.
That's why I was asking whether we should just go ahead and put it special use.
In
And
town
put it
center.
that instead of being permitted to where they, for a year or whatever, or 3 years. Special, we could turn around and monitor them a little
I
bit better.
agree.
Yeah.
Traffic flow, the amount of kids,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that kind of a thing in the town center or the commercial or, you know.
But state laws state how many kids per teacher, how many kids per room.
For home, yeah. 'cause
Yes,
I was in
so
childcare.
there's a lot of regulation.
But you still had the one that had them in the closet when they came and did the inspection.
But you're
in
still-
Denver.
But those that do
Hey,
things
he
No,
illegal,
I just
Heard
called
about
my
that one.
parents and told them I wasn't taking kids today.
yeah, but those
Field
that
trips.
do things illegal are going to always do things illegal. This isn't gonna make a darn
Yeah, it's not gonna
difference.
make any
I know.
difference.
No,
So-
but it'll affect traffic and like you were saying, like that might affect the town. Is the traffic, the parking. the-
Part of it though is when you define it, then later you will state there has to be X amount of parking, X amount of flow.
Yeah.
So you can have other definitions to,
In the permit.
Yes.
Under the
Yeah.
P.
yes.
Okay.
Or just
Okay.
have it
Yeah.
as special. And then that way we can regulate it a little bit more instead of saying, okay, everybody, you know, has. OT town center, can have it anywhere in the town center. Anybody can have it in the commercial professional district,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but if we put a special use. Then we could regulate how many, you know, are in that town center.
We
Yeah,
don't
there's
want
that.
every other house to have a childcare home.
Exactly.
True.
So,
with special
so it was
permit.
for special permit, we could say, well, we can't really give you a permit because there's a house 3 doors down.
You might have I'll be honest with you, limiting people's businesses in that regards could be a potential issue. But Ruth can speak to that.
Yeah, Ruth had brought that up because once we turn around and put a permit, it allows it anywhere in any place within the town center or the commercial
But
property.
you're right, but you're stating that if anybody comes in, it's all by special, and you said, well, I can't give it to you because you have 1, 2 doors down. That is going to potentially cause you a business issue, because you're saying, well, because you don't know how, I don't want to say.
We
There are
can't really
diff-
put restraints like that out there. It's hard to
Yes.
put restraints on trade like that.
Yes.
I see.
And that's why it is, you can say, but if somebody came into us tomorrow, we had this in place and they came into us tomorrow, you can't say, well, I can't give it to you because 2 doors down you have it. That's where you're gonna run into problems. So you have to not look at the neighbors in regards to other businesses, but how it's going to impact
The
the
area,
area.
Okay, so
So-
you define the zone to make the zone smaller to where there's not enough to put 4 or 5 daycares in the same area.
Right.
Right, that would be a,
Well, and they're not going to put in a daycare if they don't have, if there's not the need either.
they're not gonna
So-
put in a childcare center because you can't get along with the state, let's put it that way.
You know what I think we can do is I can bring back, some of these need definitions. Put in the code, and then we could look at the definition of what the child care center is, and then we can either, keep it the way it is or change it. Based
would be
upon our
School
definition.
or center.
Yes, a childcare center would be more like the school, but you
And
go
then
in,
down here, we've got family childcare in a home. Is why I'm looking at both of those, cause they're. this
Yeah,
one
one's
we're-
in the one's a
Okay.
residential area.
yes, so they're very
And
different.
they're not allowed.
Not
They're
in-
not
And
allowed in a non-residential area.
And I would like those to be special use instead of permitted use, because those businesses would need to have a business license to operate from the town.
Correct.
And eventually the town is going to do, I'm hoping the town is going to do, renewal yearly of those permits, business license permits. And that would allow us a way to track them. Because there's a number of
That's
people
true.
in town right now that are calling it, I'm babysitting, such and such's child. And while they're babysitting for $150 a day, which is tax dollars that we're losing because we're just letting them go.
Well, the state is required, if you have more than one family that you're watching,
Mhm.
you have to report that to the
Yeah,
state.
well, yeah, but
Yeah,
they're
but we're-
not,
We're
But they're
rural
not.
they're not,
and
so.
you could very well slide through the.
Yeah,
I like the special
I
permit.
think it should be
I
special
think we
permit.
need
I
to go
changed
with-
some to all S. Okay, so
Okay.
church is a broad term permitted. I think it's hard to say no to churches. Commercial parking lots. Maybe, I can't imagine it happening to us, but it could, right?
Mhm.
Good, yeah. It's like the
Um,
broken things.
A family child care home, they're not permitted in the non-residential areas. I don't know how you feel about that, but
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
fire stations,
They can be built on every corner.
Mhm.
We love our firemen.
funeral homes are permitted. Except in town center. I don't know where you guys even, is there a funeral home in Elbert County?
No,
Love's is the closest, it's in Lyman, And then there's some in Parker and Castle Rock. So no, there is not one in Elbert County.
Okay, so gas station, there's a conflict here because if I merge these zone districts, I need to know if you want them as a special review use or permitted use.
Special would be my opinion.
Which one?
We don't need any more gas stations.
Oh.
Okay, and then, gravel,
And allowed.
they're all special review. That's only, high industrial, heavy industrial. I mean, that makes sense. Home occupations, I like to encourage those. I don't know how you all feel about that.
Yep, I'd love to stay home and work.
Yeah.
Hospitals, permitted,
Yeah,
it'd be good. Hospitals create jobs.
Mhm.
Hospital. And higher paying jobs typically. Motel. They're not
Ruth?
permitted. Yes,
Here's my question. Granted, I know a hostel is a little bit different than hotel, motel, lodging establishment, but there's still a little bit of a similarity to it.
I've never even heard that word.
The hostel?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've never.
it's huge in
People,
Europe.
Yeah.
and they, like you,
But we don't have a
you travel around, you can
definition.
stay in a
for
hospital, it's really
it's
cheap.
kind of like a house where they put 50 people in a night.
Oh,
Mhm.
it's not, it's really,
Yeah.
but like
No.
people who go
we could
That's
just, we
around
could,
or something, it's, yeah,
Yeah, they're huge.
it's very
For
different
those-
to me than a hotel.
It is, but you know, for some people, you know, it's town center. To me, though, it could also go into,
Do we have a definition for hostel?
no, I just added it.
Okay,
I'm gonna add it, don't, but
No.
you don't want to permit them at all. I mean,
Yeah.
they're generally can, I mean, as
they're
a
more of a,
general, can create problems for communities.
Yeah, we
if
don't,
people
we don't
wanna
want
go,
it.
There's no one traveling through.
you're right, this is not a
No, it's
backpacking
not
type
backpacking
area.
type.
Yeah.
so asterisk it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hostile.
Yes.
No, we're not hostile no more.
I think you are hostile. for hostels.
intermediate healthcare facility, that needs a definition. All these will come back with definitions, medical and dental offices. So this is medical marijuana caregiver operations. Typically, you haven't permitted these, so
We
I-
don't want them.
Oh, medical marijuana caregiver operations, what does that mean?
I don't want it, it's got marijuana in it.
You can,
I mean,
you can have, as an example, a person that's a caregiver, if I remember correctly, they can grow for up to 3 people that have medical marijuana.
Caregiver.
Yes, they're
Okay.
considered a caregiver.
Okay.
Because for some reason, the person who has the medical marijuana license can't grow.
Okay.
So it's kind of a co-op, for lack of a
Okay.
better way to say it.
It's like if you needed it and I was growing it for you because you couldn't grow it.
Correct.
But if you have to be a caregiver, like.
You have to
trained
be-
be a caregiver.
Listed as a caregiver,
Is
yes.
that those funny plants you have going down there?
I don't know what they are.
Mint.
That's up
It's
to you.
Okay, moving on.
Regulation for that though too.
Yes, there is.
Okay, multifamily nightclub.
a multifamily. Do you want that as permitted?
No,
No,
Okay.
nursing care. facility.
Nightclub. All the nightclubs are special review use. Nursing are permitting. Nursing homes. Which is as you know, level up from assisted living, but, I don't know if you have any objections to that.
Having objections to anything else on here, because everything looks good to me.
can I ask why park, in a park zone is under special review? I'm just curious.
I don't think you need that, do you? That should be P.
Yeah,
All the way straight across, isn't it?
should be.
Pet animal facility. I mean, I don't know. that's up to you. I don't. Any thoughts about that? The only problem with them is that they're loud.
Or is that like a
Like the lady
dog
that-
daycare?
That used to be grooming down here. That would
Okay.
be, wouldn't that be what it's considered as a pet care facility?
Like a,
Some, or pet animal
Grooming or
facility?
daycare
Yeah,
or-
like
Yeah,
a-
grooming,
Yeah.
daycare, boarding.
Yeah.
And in playground. Should be a P, permitted for park as well.
Oh, yeah.
I changed that.
Thank you.
Indoor, outdoor, so the. Indoor rec facilities, special review use in town center, that to me makes sense. I don't know about you all.
Yep.
What's different between a recreation center and a recreation facility?
I don't think anything, like a rec center, though, usually. That would have indoor, outdoor. I think that's what,
and the facility would be, the rec center could include everything.
Like a
A rec facility could include like golf outside with frisbees and
Yeah.
fields and stuff like that.
So do we wanna just have rec center and get rid of rec facility indoor and outdoor?
Or get rid of rec center?
Well, because some people might have a combo.
Right, or it might be you just have an outdoor pool. Or,
And that would be a facility.
well, a lot of, like those jumping facilities or, like they do the indoor.
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, we can just
They-
leave it as
yeah.
is.
Recycling only in industrial.
Mm.
It's in the parks because, a lot of communities run out of areas and they have like a central place to put recycling.
Yep.
Sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's really community dependent, whether people go and just dump their trash or not. So I've seen it work and I've seen it a disaster. So I don't, you guys know how that would work in Kiowa more than me.
or they're major with parks.
Mm.
Sorry, I was just thinking about that. If you go back to ours, we have it permitted in parks, is that okay?
Probably not.
No one
It's
thinks,
for the guy on the weekend.
no.
I'm just checking.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
So Ruth, can you go back to automotive sales and repair? And in the parks, district, can we make that an S
Or an asterisk.
or
not
an S?
allowed.
Or do you want to make it an asterisk?
Why would it be allowed in a park? Who would want to have an automotive?
Well, from
It's just-
zoned,
When she was talking about that, I was like,
yeah, we can,
Yeah.
There again, what about bulk storage of dangerous materials also in the park?
that's gonna
Those
be
are-
taken out.
Those are all
Those are-
allowed.
Yeah. but that's why I was wondering, since we took those out,
Yeah, I think that should come out of parks. I don't want
Yeah.
sorry, it's just something I
No,
was
you're
mulling
good.
on.
You're good.
someone rebuilding a car in a park.
Oh.
That's why I was
There's a car
wondering,
broke-
You gotta
There's a guy down in
the
our
way
park that's
people
broke down
think and
now.
know.
He's working on his car for the last 2 days.
Everybody's gonna try to do whatever they need to
Yes,
do.
they are. That's why, can we go back to recreational facility indoor outdoor real quick?
Yep.
My only question on that is, I mean, it shouldn't, like, yeah, recreational facilities are really cool. Good for the community, but should those be special permits only because if you just put permitted, what if someone comes in and decides to do a zip line? Like across a block or something, and they say, well, it's permitted, it's a recreation.
Or golf around.
I mean, I'm just,
But it's
you know,
gotta
looking
be-
out for the town, I don't wanna get us
Oh.
into a position like
Yeah.
that where they
But
come
then
in and
it's
they argue with us and
as
say,
opposed
well,
to
you said we can do this, so we're doing a zip line.
We also don't have a term for the indoor and outdoor and
Right.
so that'll have to be turned up on there too.
Right,
yeah.
so we really need the definition.
Let me work on that and then,
So, yeah, I'm just concerned about that's it.
Oh, there's Rebecca.
I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Rebecca.
Hi, Rebecca.
I just saw her flash up there. I said, "Wait, I don't know that person. And I can see
Yeah,
it says
that's my
Rebecca.
bad.
But somebody's got her muted. Either she's muted or.
She's
Oh,
probably got
she's probably got herself muted.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
I do.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Nice to see all of you.
All right.
I think we were down at Wrecking Yards.
Yes, salvage or wrecking yards.
Yeah, salvage your
We have a few of those in town already.
Yes,
We really do.
we do.
Yes, we do.
Yep. I don't see anything wrong with any of the rest of them. I want solar energy on my house.
Do we
Okay,
care if there's a distinction between small animal and vet clinic in Kiowa?
They're all the same.
Well, no. not-
No, 'cause you could
small
have-
animal wouldn't have
Would just be
equine.
cats and dogs and stuff,
Yeah.
where the other one would have horses and cows.
Woody Smith does both, everything.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah, so
And out here, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
do all.
Keep the
Do
job.
what
So-
They're worded as small animal and large animal, or small and large animal. They're not two separate ones.
Yes.
So the question would be, do you just want vet clinic?
Yeah,
And how
that's
they handle animals,
Well,
call it good.
and vet clinic and facilities.
Yep, I'll work on that, but it just seems like that doesn't work for Kiowa.
Yeah, so it'd pretty much just be vet clinic and facilities.
Yeah, because you'd think the facilities would be like where the horses are. and that's-
Mhm.
Yeah.
not-
Next one we're gonna hammer on.
Okay,
And then
Let's go-
wireless communications. I can't stand those things, but we have to have them, so
Yep.
they can be so ugly,
Mm-hmm.
such an eyesore. Okay, so now we're in residential
Um,
uses.
Before you go residential uses, let's go, self-service storage facilities.
Yep,
Because here a while back, there was a gentleman that wanted to put a self-service storage facility on Highway 86. And that would be in my world, commercial property. And we have it under, what do we have it under?
Light industrial.
Mhm.
Yeah, so to put a storage unit on Main Street. When
it's not permitted,
it's what?
It's not.
not
permitted.
permitted.
Okay, well, I was serious about him gonna do it.
So you want to put it
And
as
if
a
he could
special?
get a decent concrete price, he'd already have it done. So. Not permitted works for me.
Yeah, the only place it's permitted right now is light industrial.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Okay.
these-
To
and
stay
should
that way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
should that be
I
with an
agree.
S or?
No, it's gotta be permitted.
Okay.
Okay, all right, moving on to table of residential use.
Okay, so
Permitted special use and all that, okay. Manufactured, I gotta go find, I gotta find my list. MHP is what?
Yeah, what is MHP?
Mobile home park.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Multifamily, single family, high density, medium density, low density, rural residential and ag.
okay.
So, the first thing I highlighted was an ADU. They're not permitted in mobile home parks or multifamily. I think they should be permitted in, well, they are permitted in rural residential and ag, so.
But not on this.
But not a, yeah.
No, I just didn't fill it in yet. That's why it's
Okay. So
blank.
those should,
But I just wanted your input on, high density, medium density and low density,
what is an accessory dwelling unit?
like a
That's gonna-
caretaker unit.
Teach
Or
your
it
mother.
can be a full secondary unit. Which means it's got cooking facilities under the uniform building code,
Cooking and like bathroom, like restroom facility?
like a full dwelling unit, but small.
Okay.
So a tiny home.
Mother-in-law unit.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
My
Essentially.
mother was full of my crap stuff, how would be that?
So,
But she said kitchen.
so Ruth is asking in regards to, we have it on rural and ag. Do we want to add it to the low density, which would be looking for my acreages?
So I would say as
That's a
special
half
uses. That's my recommendation for whatever it's worth.
What's your recommendation, Ruth?
Have them as special review uses.
Yes,
On the low density?
Yeah,
because as an example, in the town of Castle Rock, they have now allowed it on all lots.
And
pretty
people are
much
double
with-
building on their houses down there too.
So, well, it's an accessory, so it's supposed to be kind of.
It's its own little,
Own dwelling.
Yes, so special review, at least in low, we can leave it out of high density and medium
Yeah, let's
density.
leave it out of that.
Too much.
okay.
We'll
So
just
that's
put it
a
in
no,
low.
okay. Got it.
And that's special, is that what you just said?
Mhm.
Special
Okay.
for low.
Okay. Perfect.
multifamily. They're not
Mm-hmm.
permitted in anything but the multifamily zone district. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
If they want multifamily, they can come in and rezone it. And a group home. Again, that's up to all of you. Where you'd want to,
Like an assisted living with 6 or 8 people, is that?
that's
kind of
pretty.
what you're thinking?
but I
Yeah,
would
we
not
just-
have it in a high density, in single family high density.
No.
Or, yeah, if you do, it has to be by special review.
But isn't a group home also one for, like parolees could be a
You-
group home
Yep.
or,
Yeah.
or,
Oh, this one is specific. It says aged.
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 But then do we need one for something? other
18 and
than
over.
aged?
It's right down below mentally disabled, and developmentally disabled. It's the same
I'm
thing.
I'm making all those.
What about like a halfway house? Where would
well,
that?
that's,
That's
what
what
he's
this
talking
is
about.
That would
coming
be a
in,
group home.
that group home underneath there with mental disability, disabled, mentally ill.
No, not necessarily though.
no, but you got drug rehab type of
Exactly.
Yep,
group home, which went on the
It'll be a
outskirts,
totally different one.
you know, in the outskirts.
We don't want
And
any
then
of
the
that.
neighbors didn't want them because, you know, they had to throw higher fences, barbed wire, or whatever, and then,
Yeah,
you know, that kind of thing, and you want, where do you really want that?
Yeah.
Or you don't.
You know,
I have
yes,
it as, not permitted in low density and not, not permitted in ag. And rural residential. I think you probably,
they were trying to do over off by the golf course. That house across the street right there was your turn. That's what I thought.
so what do you think under rural residential 2-acre lots as special review use are not permitted?
I would say no.
The only, of the ones I know of in Elbert County that are kind of like a group home,
Mhm.
there's one up off of Delbert, and it's on probably 35 acres. And it's got 7 women living in the basement up there. And so something like that would be acceptable, but I don't think that would be acceptable on Shasta Court,
No,
you know, because the traffic would be tremendous.
it has to be out.
Yeah,
outskirts and
it has to
so
be,
out.
if we're gonna do something like that, it
I'd say
needs to
rural.
be in,
or ag.
yeah, it needs to be out of R1, R2,
Commercial.
R3. Maybe multi-use would be okay, but not in any of those
Furthest out
places.
is what I would say.
But are we breaking up group home aged and group home like halfway house?
but
Are there-
let's look back over here at your nursing care facilities. Look at your
Yeah, they're over here.
intermediate healthcare. So in essence, you're putting more into your commercial, your light industrial, those. So it's totally different in regards to.
There are 2 houses in Elizabeth up across from the cemetery that are
Caretaker home.
for the aged, for the old folks. And I don't know how those are going over in the neighborhood, but There's a lot of traffic in and out of there every day,
Well, yeah, and the ambulance is there about every other day.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
So
So
I
what-
just don't want it closed.
So do we want it permitted at all, or do, in multifamily for group homes at, either or do we want it to be under special review?
Well, I think-
Permitted,
I
special review
think
or not at
special
all?
review.
yeah, I agree.
Special review would be good, I think.
For a multifamily, okay.
Mhm.
So then are we going to do anything with high density, medium density, or low density?
I'd say
Special
not in
review
there.
or not at all?
I'd say not a,
I would say not at all. We don't want them in.
Tight.
Yeah, I don't.
In the neighborhoods.
Okay, so how about your rural, your 2 acre RR?
I would say I would say with anything that has to do with like a halfway house, a group home or anything like that, they should all be under special review.
Okay,
Because you don't know what you're getting. I mean,
this
it's-
is very true.
yeah,
Shannon, you haven't said a word all night.
I'm taking it all in.
so, okay, and then,
Me nervous.
so the ag, are we gonna also put it under special review for both of those?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
Okay,
would,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Alright.
have them in an area away from families.
okay,
Mhm.
You want rural residential and ag to be in SRU?
Yeah,
special, yeah,
permit.
Okay.
Cause I have a crazy house now. Don't come
I was
looking.
gonna permit them, so there you go. Okay,
What is intermediate?
so that's like, doctors on call, 24-hour service, doctors. Basically, you have them all over the place. In
like
Park,
the care ones and.
yeah,
Now and all those.
Yeah,
it's like urgent care, basically.
Urgent care, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Be nice to have one close. But not
Yeah,
that
it
close.
but do we want it in a something zone multifamily?
No.
no.
Okay,
I just
so,
said close. They could build one in Elizabeth. That'd be close enough.
so do we want it by special review or not at all? Because wouldn't that be something we'd rather have in our commercial?
Yes.
Yeah, commercial, but not.
Okay, I eliminated them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Nursing care, same. I think you eliminate them.
Yeah.
Accessory buildings, mobile home park, you get that all the time for storage, because mobile home parks typically don't have enough storage for people.
What does the C mean?
What- yeah.
I delete, that's what's, it's now S.
Okay,
Okay.
Shit their own key. That's what it was. It's okay.
Home, beverage, and medical marijuana is not permitted. Ambulance and rural residential and ag, I'm not sure how I feel about that. That's up to you guys.
we already have it over in commercial in parks, so,
Yeah, we might as well keep it there.
Well, ambulance service is here and it ain't moving out of where it's at, so
And I didn't,
I don't think we'll have another one move into town,
I don't
so.
think so either.
no, and
Cause Kiowa Fire Protection District runs that show.
And there's definitely no bus stops because we don't have buses.
There you go.
And the alcoholic beverage and medical marijuana, the two can't be in the same lines as far as I
A lot
know.
of people smoke dope and drink beer.
Well, yeah, I know, but you can't get all in one stop shop.
Can't go down to the bar and get
Yeah, there
marijuana
you
is what
go.
he's saying.
Now that alcoholic beverage, is that like a microbrewery kind of thing? Is that what that is? Is that what it's not allowing?
I don't know, but we don't.
Okay.
But you don't want it in residential.
Oh, no.
Yeah, basically it says no.
Yeah, it's no. Okay, I think we're done. Turn the page.
Bus stops are all permitted.
Stop.
No,
Well, no, didn't
It's
Kim say,
permitted, but-
didn't Kim
Oh,
say there
yeah.
was a bus service that comes out
Oh.
here every now and then or
Yes.
something?
Yeah,
There
there
is.
is.
there might be
Okay.
someday a bus
Picks
stop
up
that
people
pops
at
in.
the
I think
senior center.
Did Rebecca have
Well,
a
she was talking
question?
about.
Oh, Rebecca, you got a question?
I thought somebody
She
voiced.
didn't turn her,
Oh,
Did not, no.
okay. Why not? She's sitting over there thinking we're all quacks.
Oh, no,
Share-
you're not all, but although I would ask if anybody has this on file where they can send it to me in email. I know Sasha, you did earlier, but it came out corrupted and I can't I have nothing to read to follow, although I'm following along real well with you guys.
Well, let's see if I can remember.
They corrected it. That's horrible.
I'll see if I can remember it.
Yeah, give me your email. I'll forward it to
See,
you.
like,
Yeah.
if you go through
Thank you.
this.
Are you ready?
these
Nope.
guys,
I gotta find it first.
that's pretty much. I mean,
I'd say,
everybody
I'm
has
gonna
satellite
blame it on the
dishes.
fact that, you know,
Well.
it's been a crazy
that.
couple weeks.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't
and-
you.
Okay, good.
They did.
Whatever. Anyway,
Okay,
You aren't gonna have.
it's
any-
right
believe me,
here.
they
We're going
don't
to
have
forward it.
to
Okay.
Playground. will have
Okay,
it.
it's Scout, SCOUT 270 at MSN. And thank you.
Oh, it won't let me forward it to you. It says it's an invalid email. Scout, is it a capital S by chance?
Nope, it's all lowercase.
Oh, MSN.com, probably.
Yes,
Oh, that's why. I didn't hit
I'm
the doc-
sorry.
No,
I
I didn't.
assumed.
I should have known. Okay, it's sent. See if you got it. It should come from CKSKCKJK.
All right, so we're on this
Yeah,
next
let's go.
page.
Okay,
No, we're not. Well, it might be on next page on you guys.
For
Because
us,
I'm
it is.
getting
We're commercial farming.
Well, no, I just want to be clear about childcare centers. They're all special review use
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're permitted in rural
Yeah.
residential and
town.
Okay.
Them people
Yeah.
out there that have
They
kids,
can do what
they can do whatever they want. I just don't want them screaming next door to me.
Oh, you are just full of like, no kids, no pot, no nothing.
Hey, I have kids at home. I'm raising my 3 grandchildren. Well, 2 of them now. One of them moved out.
All right, so you have nothing in home occupation.
that's correct, because I want your feedback.
What is it?
So what's our definition of home occupation?
Where somebody works out of their home.
a business in their house.
I'll read it to you. Yeah,
Rebecca, did you get it?
I did. I replied to you. There's no attachment there. It's okay.
Seriously.
I'll just follow along this evening. We're
oh,
good.
guess what? We don't have a definition for a home occupation.
Because if you can have a definition of home occupation where there's no, where nobody's coming in or out of the home, then it's not interrupting any of your neighbors.
But if you're like, if you have a
Right.
home law office or a home barber shop or a
Nail
home.
salon.
Yep,
or-
anything where
Usually,
it's-
usually they're limited to people coming to your house and then having commercial vehicles. That's typically how they work.
Cause I don't care if somebody works from home as long as they're not interrupting the neighborhood.
And that's an idea
agree.
because of their.
So
work
for
tax
example, the guy that lived up in Brookfield that owned a plumbing company, and he had 8 or 10 plumbing trucks in front of his house in his driveway every day.
Yeah,
And
that's the kind of thing you want to avoid, right? As a community.
Yes.
Like a dog daycare. You
So
know,
let
something
me-
noise ordinance wise.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, cause that's.
The
So-
dog daycares are in our commercial
Yes.
spots.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So no home occupation.
It's also down here at the bottom, so we'll get to that. But I will come back with a good definition from home occupation, then we'll go back and fill that in. How's that sound?
That works.
Like only working.
Hostel, I said, is not permitted anywhere. Laundromat is permitted in the mobile home park and multifamily, which makes sense.
Yep,
Manufactured home.
Has to be permitted. Keep it that.
Do you want manufactured homes? I don't see
Kitchen.
a problem with them. They're some super nice.
there are some super nice ones.
Mhm.
Mobile home,
I would be permitted.
Non-commercial greenhouse are permitted everywhere, so you can build a greenhouse anywhere, any residential area in Kiowa. Are you all comfortable with that?
Yep.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
about
whatever.
that?
Yes,
What
because
about
you have to
like a-
have anything
Yeah.
above a 10 by 10 has to be permitted,
Permitted.
Exactly, so.
so.
Mine
Even
isn't.
in
So if it's a
high
Ten,
non-commercial one.
10 by 20, isn't it?
100 square feet, 100 square feet, I thought.
No,
But
it counted
200.
200.
120, but I could be wrong.
By 20.
But are they okay to have in a high density? I mean,
I
is
get
a
ready to do one, so.
greenhouse in a high density?
So pet animal facility is what that woman was, I'm sorry. I can't remember who was talking about that, but here it is. As a special review use in rural residential and ag only.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
Playground, of course, is always permitted. Riding academy. Food ranch.
you have that.
I'm not sure. You may want to have that as a special review use in ag and rural residential, right?
And
Take that out of the
maybe
mobile home.
not in the mobile home.
Not in mobile.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know how you do it in a mobile home, but,
No, we don't.
all right, sale of produce. Plants raised on premises, that's similar to something we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, sawmills, no way, right?
Yeah, no,
If you have a greenhouse, isn't that plants raised on premises?
Working.
But
but,
you're not
but you're not
selling
selling them.
So that's both as commercial. Okay.
Sawmills aren't permitted, right?
Correct.
Those are C's or S's or P's.
Stars.
Schools, what do we think about schools? Not permitted unless they're in ag?
Here's part of our problem. We may have, because church is, wait a second, I'm sitting here flipping. So every place that a church is allowed, you may have to look at school as well, because there are a lot of churches that have their private school. So that's where we're gonna have to we can have them as an S in all the same places as churches. So it has to be reviewed by us.
Yeah.
Right.
But we have to look at it as if a church comes in, they very likely could have a private school.
So you need.
Residential area?
It
Churches
matches.
want that. You want that in a residential area?
Well, if we're having a church in a residential area, we don't need to have it, but we need to have it as reviewed.
Yeah, well, we don't have
So-
any churches in, well,
At this moment.
Did you want to
At this
turn the
moment in
church to
time.
S's instead of P's?
and
I
we
would
really
turn it into S's.
don't have the
Church
ground to do
and
that.
school,
So do we want to change church to S's
yes.
And schools.
And then schools.
and
S's.
and the
Yes.
schools to
I
S's?
agree with you,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
That's what I would do.
'Cause I think in a small town, I'm gonna throw my 10 cents in here. I think in a small town like this, when our school and the county and the churches are the main focal point of the town, for a church to come in and take away from the school is, in my world, is not
Gonna happen.
acceptable.
Right.
A, because I was a public school teacher forever, and B, because I was a public school teacher forever. And
Ditto.
I don't know, I don't think that. I just think it hurts your community somewhat if you bring in, a church comes in and all of a sudden, boom, now we have a church school. I mean, I don't have a problem with those kids homeschooling.
I was gonna say, but that's where kids could go is to the church school. So it might be a benefit for them.
If
Well,
you're
and-
homeschool, you're homeschool.
but as some of those that are homeschooled, they do resources.
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
sports
And
with
some-
schools and. stuff.
Right, and sometimes those resources are at the church or through the school for this sports, so.
Well, like band and choir and stuff like that, and shop and automotive and
Mhm.
things, they could go to the school, but
So when
that would be something that, we're gonna have to really ponder and come up with some ideas and
Mhm.
solutions.
So, cause when we homeschooled Kat and she did band, it was, we went to Colorado Springs and it was in churches that they had the large bands, but it could be parents as well as the kids learning how to play the instruments. So it's just a matter of, let's make it all, both of those, church and school, public or private, as S's.
And they're the same and treated the same.
Yes.
I like it.
Okay,
Especially-
Here's my pitch about churches and schools. And banks. They don't produce
Taxes.
any revenue
Bank is
Nope.
not on here.
for a town. That's
No.
just a fact. That's not an opinion. That's just
Yeah.
something always to keep in mind. Banks, schools, churches.
Therefore, it's all under special review.
And don't forget the county.
So,
We don't have banks on.
yeah, Ruth,
Yep,
Lori just brought up that banks are not listed anywhere
banks and
Under-
financial.
in
Okay,
non-residential or in residential, unless we're totally missing it.
Nope.
I don't see it under anything now that she said. that.
Good catch, Lori.
And that is a good catch, because banks, you gotta pay really close attention to them, because if you don't, they'll put a bank on every corner.
Well, but the other thing is banks promote towns too. Banks are a good foundation for a town, so.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally
mean,
agree,
well,
but you don't
well,
want too many of them in one area, cause they'll do that.
We have our bank. It's the only one coming.
Yeah, we only need one.
What, the farmers?
Yep.
Yeah. And they're already in the process. They bought the land. and-
Yep.
There's got a
Yep,
bank
they're gonna-
left.
And I heard Bank of the West changed hands again, so.
Did it really?
that's what I
Yeah,
heard.
Bank of the West is with BMO.
BMO now.
All right,
BMO.
moving on.
Really.
I
Moving
don't,
on.
I don't see Starbucks on here.
Oh, get out.
So you know how Starbucks is, they'll put one on every corner too,
You know what
so.
though, but where does where would a coffee place fall under?
restaurant.
Restaurant, okay.
Okay,
Okay, so solar satellite dishes permitted. I was really looking for your input on wind energy, if you guys want. Those in your residential neighborhoods.
no,
Well,
No.
So there are some out there now that are super small, placed on your house that you don't hear. So we may need to have them
Specify
as
that.
and special review, so that way they come to us.
you're talking
Because
about the wind?
yes, there's actually some small wind ones that, and technology keeps changing and
It's popping
improving.
up, yeah.
And
Okay.
so,
of wind
So you wanna turn it to S?
Yeah.
yeah, right?
what do you
So
guys
turn-
think, changing wind to S, so that way we
Oh,
can?
yeah, no, I agree,
Utilize our wind? Yeah.
right, cause we get a lot of it.
Yeah, we just don't want somebody putting a giant
Right?
It's not.
turbine in the middle of
And
town.
keeping solar energy is all P. Just changing wind.
Yes.
Solar energy out here, brain damage.
I know, neighbor just put theirs up.
Brain
Oh,
damage.
why? Why?
And
I
um,
hate-
No, I know.
water reservoir, anybody have an opinion about that?
I'd like a new water well, but I
Yeah.
don't think we'll ever have a reservoir.
Yeah,
What's the definition of a reservoir?
Probably
Rainwater?
a certain size. I
Is
would
it,
Yeah, I
guess.
is
would
it
say-
in-ground or is it a?
6
tank?
barrels, 45 gallons.
It would
each.
be out open, I would assume.
And then.
Like a
where's-
pond or
where's
is it in a
the-
bucket?
Where's the water tank fall into?
Oh, it may not have might not have a water tank. It might just be an open pond. Or water collect.
I mean, I've got
Do
the
we
old
need a
reservoir, I mean, I've got the old water tower at my house, there's no reservoir or anything up there anymore, but.
Yeah, I think though, in this case, a water reservoir is
Would be more
like a
like a
lake,
lake or
yes?
pond.
In the
Right.
ground?
Like a pond or a lake, is that what
Yeah,
that is?
that's a reservoir, that's water reservoir.
Yeah, that's, I think, when I think reservoir, I think fishing.
fishing, uh-huh.
Let's go fishing.
I think it'd be cool to have a nice reservoir.
Yeah, if we had a place to put it.
Okay, well, it's permitted out in ag,
And we have no water though.
Yeah,
so if you had water. Okay.
Okay, moving on.
You didn't
Really?
answer the question.
As far
Where
as
do you
reservoir,
want them? special review use permitted? Or not?
None.
What?
The water
Water
reservoir,
reservoir?
Oh,
it could be
Yeah,
permitted at
permitted.
ag, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
But the rest is not.
but the rest of it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, and then telecommunications equipment, I think you have to allow that. That's just the equipment.
where? Everywhere?
I don't know. I mean,
Or just out rural ag.
because that's where you
I
have,
want it near a multifamily project, they may need, you know, an extra
Boost.
power source or something.
But shouldn't.
You know, we may
facility-
want to do that, forgive me, like on a special review, and correct me if I'm wrong, some of the newer like satellites for high-speed internet that go off a cell tower, don't they have to put those on their fence? And I don't know if neighbors might be concerned about where they put it on their fence for the adjoining neighbor.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
okay, so that's a question mark.
That would be a special review, I mean. Or.
So.
Or actually, it would be just like a dish satellite. It would be just like your, direct TV dish satellite. It would be a dish like that, I think.
Yeah, and we already have satellite
We already
dish
have those permitted.
residential, those are
Okay.
permitted.
I bet it would fall under that then.
So wireless telecommunication equipment, Ruth, are we talking more of that commercial, meaning the 5G towers that they're putting into like downtown Denver willy-nilly and things like that?
Well, no, because it's an equipment, but we can get definitions to make sure we get it right. Because
Like HughesNet.
you know, a lot of these definitions are governed by the FCC.
Okay.
Okay, so we want a definition on that one.
Yeah,
On the equipment,
Mhm.
right?
yes,
And facilities, I mean, I'll have them
Yes.
both.
okay.
Yep,
And then lastly, the next paragraph is what we were, hold on, I just gotta write this word. Okay. This is what I was talking about. 1A. This is ensuring that you're providing one bedroom. You all may think it's overreaching. I just want you to see what's kind of out there. That's the purpose of putting it in here. And B, I think that's important to have. But, A,
A is standard in the real estate community in regards to that definition. And
Yeah.
that should match.
okay, and then B is really about a group home. So saying that we're not gonna permit any additional people to live in a group home in the town.
Yep,
We're only required to do what state and federal law tells us.
okay,
so nothing above and beyond.
okay.
So the PUD, it's not completely finished. We can, certainly talk about the beginning of it. This was, again.
Yeah.
A big issue for the town when we had Kiowa Creek Meadows. We had very limited requirements, so we can go through this. I've added Kiowa Water and Wastewater to be involved in the approval process. Or we can do it on Tuesday. So whatever you guys want, because we're gonna be back at it on Tuesday.
You mean Wednesday?
Or Wednesday, I'm so sorry, I'm so used to Tuesdays, but yes.
Yeah, yeah, because right now, none of us are looking for additional, we're
Yeah,
looking,
they don't have what you're talking about.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah, B5.
We're done.
so,
Okay,
anything else for us tonight, Ruth?
I don't think so.
All right.
Does
So do
anybody,
Oh, go ahead.
I just think we all have our, prayer, hearts and prayers for Kim and,
Yes.
Yes.
super hard, I know it is. So, you guys have anything else? Questions, concerns?
I'm not thinking so. I have a motion to adjourn the meeting,
I make the motion to adjourn this meeting at
7:35.
7:35.
second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Meeting is so adjourned.
Start.
Thank